My guest is Pakistan's former High Commissioner to India, Abdul Basit. Mr. Basit was Pakistan's High Commissioner between 2014 and 2017. Those were, by the way, the first 3 years of the Modi government. And the subject today is his recently written book. It's called Hostility, and it's going to be released in India sometime next month. But Mr. Basit has sent me by email the full book, which I've read, and let me tell you, it's explosive. Some of its revelations are truly sensational. Many, I would say, are perhaps even shocking. If my hunch is correct, the book will create an earthquake in Islamabad, and I can bet some of those tremors will be felt very strongly in New Delhi. Joining me today by Zoom from Islamabad to talk about his book Hostility is Abdul Basit himself. Mr. Basit, I want to start with some of the astonishing and almost incredible things that you've written in your book. And let's start with what you say about Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, who was Pakistan's Prime Minister right through the 3.5 years you were High Commissioner in India. You say of Nawaz Sharif, Sharif was overly inclined to pander to India unilaterally and unconditionally. Now that is pretty strong criticism of a former Prime Minister. On what grounds do you say it?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and thank you very much, Mr. Thapar, for having me. Obviously, I watched very, very closely our leader and worked with him very closely on Pakistan-India relations. I make this assertion because what I have seen, for instance, when Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif decided to come to attend Prime Minister-elect Mr. Modi's inauguration, I thought it was kind of uncalled for to unilaterally free Indian fishermen as a gesture of goodwill. Then during the meeting itself, when Prime Minister Modi raised the issue of terrorism and as well as Mumbai attack trial, despite the fact that we had discussed in detail before going to that meeting, the Prime Minister kept silent on Kashmir. He did not mention even the word Kashmir for a single time. Then subsequently as well, what we have seen how he wanted to retain good relations with Modi, though there was nothing wrong about that. In diplomacy, that does help at times. But then if you get carried away and start doing things unilaterally, for example, 9th December 2015 joint statement, in my view, was poorly negotiated from our side. So we kept on conceding too much unilaterally, both on Jammu and Kashmir as well as terrorism.
The impression I get when I read your book, and I've read it literally cover to cover, is that you believe that Nawaz Sharif, in his desire to do business with Modi and in his eagerness to improve relations between India and Pakistan, was willing to compromise Pakistan's interests, or at least he did not defend and protect them as resolutely as a prime minister should have done.
I would not say he was willing to compromise Pakistan's interests. I think his approach was different, and he thought that by making such unilateral concessions, he would eventually be able to get concessions from Prime Minister Modi. But that was not the case in my view, because the way Islamabad was reading Prime Minister Modi, that in my assessment was off the mark. That was not I was the point man in New Delhi, and I always thought that they would consider whatever suggestions I make from New Delhi. But I think he had his own approach towards India, and he was religiously and pursuing that.
So you're saying that his approach was to make unilateral concession in the hope that Mr. Modi would reciprocate, but Mr. Modi did not. And as a result, those concessions meant that Pakistan's interests were compromised.
That is correct, and also weakened our principled position on Jammu and Kashmir in particular.
You mean to say the Pakistan Prime Minister weakened his country's principal position on Jammu and Kashmir in particular? I'm repeating it because it's such an important thing for a former High Commissioner to say.
Yes, the way we handled our interaction with India subsequently, and it is not only because of the Prime Minister himself. I think the entire team wanted to, or I do not know what kind of instructions they had from the Prime Minister. But since he was at the helm, I would say that yes, somewhat, maybe inadvertently, I do not know, but he was kind of convinced that he would eventually extract some concessions from India,
which he failed to do.
Which he failed to do, unfortunately.
I come to the Prime Minister's team in a moment's time because there's an awful lot to say about them as well in your book. But there's one more point about Nawaz Sharif that you've written that I want to put to you. You say, I could see that Sharif had an emotional attachment to India and Indians, which at times went beyond his stature as the Prime Minister. It seems to me you're suggesting that the Pakistan Prime Minister's emotions were conflicted.
I would not go to that extent and say conflicted, but obviously he was a man, who would reach out to Indians without keeping in view his stature. For example, I still strongly feel, even retrospectively, that his visit to Sajjan Jindal's residence while he was in New Delhi was not really required. Then the way he received so many journalists and, on his own was again not required. The matter of the fact was that he did not seek a meeting with the Hurriyat leadership. I thought he would have been more careful in his meetings with the Indians. But he was all out to oblige everyone. And that, to me, was not the right thing to do.
In other words, his closeness, his familiarity, his willingness to meet Indians compromised the stature and the position of the Prime Minister of Pakistan.
Obviously, we have to observe protocols. We have to be very, very careful. And this is a kind of perennial problem which our side, has vis-a-vis Indians. And this is what I tried my level best to inject some sanity into the entire exercise, in the sense that Pakistani leaders are very eager to reach out, and it is not really confined to Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. We have seen in the past as well our leaders reaching out to Indians and then in the process get carried away.
So in other words, in a nutshell, Nawaz Sharif as Prime Minister didn't live up to the high standards expected of the office of Prime Minister.
I would say that because subsequently as well, on many occasions, he would oblige many private Indian citizens, which was not according to our procedures, our rules. There were many visits which took place from India. And I personally objected to those visits because I thought that those visits would not be commensurate with our interests.